Okay, I don't normally even go on like live video on Facebook or YouTube or any of the shit. Yet I had to like sit down and literally fucking broadcast this because I just had what I can only describe as probably the worst, most fucking ridiculous date of my entire life. Like this is literally, it's so bad, it's worth it. Like it's so bad that I have to share it and let you guys know like what just happened to me, and I need photo evidence, video evidence that this is a real thing and this is my life and this is the parallel fucking dimension that I live in. And okay, so jumping back here, a few days ago I went to an event, like people spinning poi and stuff like that. And I met this girl, and I said hi to her out front, and she immediately like kind of started talking to me, talking me up, and saying like, "Hey, how are you? I'm from Canada, and I've only lived here like a year, but I don't know anyone, and I'm looking to meet people." And I said, "Oh, cool. I'm kind of new to the area too, and I'm always down to meet new people." And so she's like, "Well, can I give you my number? Can we like hang out?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Holy shit. Like, okay." And so she gives me her number. She asks me out to coffee, and I'm thinking to myself, like, this is a parallel universe where women hit on you. And so I think to myself, and she's kind of cute, right? And so I'm just like, okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds good. And I met her friend, and said hi to her too briefly. And then I left the event and I went home. And the next day I texted her and said hi, and she said hi, and she said, yeah, let's do coffee or something after work and on Friday. And I said, sure. So then she changes it to dinner, and I was like, oh, all right, like this went from coffee to dinner, and she's asking me out, and holy shit. And so it all seems like it's going really well. And we don't really text for a few days. A few days go by, I go on with my life, I finish work, and I get off work today, and I'm like, okay, time to head out. So I texted her about 9 o'clock this morning and said, hey, just making sure we're on for tonight. Didn't hear back from her all day. Then at the end of the day, she says, yeah, I'm good. I'm on my way. And I said, cool, me too. And then 2 seconds later, she says, and I'm bringing Angela. And I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. So she's bringing her friend that I also met at the event. And so my first instinct is like, okay, like, so is this like a chaperone thing? Is this like making sure that I'm not a serial killer? Is this, just or like a way of telling me this is not a date? Like I'm not sure what it means, but I'm like, that's just kind of weird. And I just said, okay, and didn't think anything of it, and I went to the restaurant, and her friend was there before her. So Angela and I sit down and start talking, and that bitch does not warn me in any way whatsoever what I'm about to walk into. And so her and I talk for like 10 minutes. We make small talk. We run out of small talk. We eventually get a table. We sit down at the table. This chick is like 20 minutes late, and she's left her friend on the line. So me and her are hanging out, just like, well, okay, whatever. Then, all of a sudden, in walks this girl. I'm not even going to use, like, you know what? Fuck it. She's not, Melanie. Her name's Melanie, and she's insane. And so in walks this girl with a dude, with another guy. And I'm like, okay. They sit down at the table. She goes, this is Bob, and introduces me to this guy, and we all sit down. And so now I'm looking around like, well, I'm here with her. I'm here with her friend. I'm here with this dude. Like, what's going on? Like, what date is, I mean, clearly it's not a date anymore. Like, and so I'm just like, okay, well, maybe this is work friends, and we're all just friends, and like we wanted to meet new people, and we're meeting new people, and good for us, And so I'm just like, okay, maybe I misread this entirely, and we're just having a social gathering. And then, as we sit down trying to make small talk, out of nowhere, with no context, apropos of nothing, she goes, I don't want to fuck you. And I said, okay. And she goes, this is my husband. I like to fuck him. And I'm like, wow. Like, so thank you for letting me know the score here. I appreciate that. And she goes, yeah, so I invited you to this thing, and my husband's like, why did you invite a guy out to dinner for a date? And I told him, like, well, I didn't think it was a date. And he's like, well, does he know that? And she's like, I don't know. And so rather than explain anything to me or text me with the days of advance warning, she just decides to bring her friend and her husband and just show up. And then weirdly and loudly pronounce that she doesn't want to fuck me in a crowded restaurant, and that she wants to fuck her husband in a crowded restaurant, and then repeats repeats that like 3 or 4 times and makes the most awkward explanation you could ever imagine for how this situation got to be. Everyone else knew the score. We figured this out. Yeah, right? Thank you, Frank. So everyone knew the score. And like, the husband had figured it out, the friend had figured it out, I had figured it out, that this was just a big faux pas, and this chick's an idiot, and she didn't, like, just say, like, oh, this isn't a date. And so everyone gets that it's a little uncomfortable and it's a little weird, and we decide, like, okay, well, let's make the best of this. And honestly, I thought right then and there of just getting up and being like, well, good day. Like, this got weird. I'm sorry for everyone's lost time. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye. And I could have just, like, walked the fuck out right there and not felt bad about it and not been a dick and just been like, well, that just awkward good day. But it didn't fucking work out that way because I'm a nice person and I decided, you know what? I don't want to embarrass this chick. I don't want to make this worse than it already is. Let's just hang out. We'll be social, like, I'm a sociable guy. I like to meet new people. We'll all meet, we'll all talk, we'll have a good time. So I start trying to bring stuff up because no one knows what to say. And I said, well, speaking of meeting new people, you should go to some of the local shows. And like, oh, what shows are you talking about? And so naturally, because it's one of my favorites, I bring up Tourette's Without Regrets. To which she immediately goes, oh, is it for people with Tourette's? And I said, no, it's a thing. And she keeps insisting that it must be for people with Tourette's, with no sense of jokiness, just telling me what it is. And I'm like, no, it's a performance thing. I said, it's put on by a guy named Jamie DeWolf. He's super awesome. He's actually, I think, like the grandson of L. Ron Hubbard. And she says, well, who's that? And the husband explains, it's the guy that invented Scientology. And she goes, oh, no, I'm not down with any Scientology shit. I'm not into that. I'm not going to that. I said, no, it's his grandson. He's actually against Scientology. She's like, nope, I'm not getting pulled into your cult bullshit. I'm not going to your fucking Scientology event. Leave it the fuck alone. And I'm like, wow. Like, holy shit. Her husband gets it. The other friend gets it. This has nothing to do with Scientology. We literally just said a keyword and it triggered her or whatever. But like, we're just like, okay. And so the conversation dies. And we sit there in silence for like another 5 minutes. And I said, well, there's some other events. There's burlesque shows. There's Hubba Hubba Review. And she goes, burlesque. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, oh, you mean whores. And I'm like, wait. Pardon? She's like, yeah, whores, sluts. You're talking about whores and sluts. And I was like, no, I mean, like dancing and stuff like that, it's more comedic. And she's like, no, they're whores. And I was like, well, it's sort of like a body positivity thing. And honestly, like, I think a lot of them are empowered by. No, they're whores, they're playing men, they're sluts, and they're in it for the money, and that's it. And I'm just like, holy shit. And I said, and like, I didn't know where to go from that. And I said, well, there are guys that do it too. And she goes, there are. And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, are you fucking serious? And I said, yeah. And she goes, are you fucking serious? Like, she's blown away. And I'm like, yeah, there are guys that do it too. And she goes, well, I guess there are male whores. I just don't know what to fucking say anymore. So I'm just like, I should stop bringing up anything because it turns into hell. Every word I say, you turn into hell. And so I don't know what to do with this now. I'm just like, well, the first couple ideas I had didn't work out. And out of nowhere she goes, so you seem like quite a catch. Why are you not married? And I was like, well, I was married. And she goes, oh, are you divorced? I said, yeah, I'm divorced. And she said, well, what happened? And I was like, it didn't work out, like, and she goes, no, what went wrong? How did you break up? And I didn't want to fucking talk about that. And so I'm just like, irreconcilable differences, like, no, I want to know. I need to know the details. And I'm just like, I don't really want to go into that. Like, she's like, tell me how it went wrong. What went wrong? And I said, I think there were issues with communication. And she goes, how so? And I said, we were in our 20s. We were young. I don't think a lot of people don't know how a relationship works around. Why are we having this conversation? And she looks at her husband and goes, communication. You hear that? Communication. You're supposed to talk. Fucking talk. And she starts bitching at her husband. and telling him that like he's basically a piece of shit at communication, and he looks really uncomfortable and has not said like a word to me since the beginning. And thank God the food comes and the waiter comes and I'm like, oh, we can all stare at our food and fill our mouths with this for like 5 minutes. And I don't know what to do, but the food's here, and we're all staring at our food. So we're sitting there like forks clinking on the fucking plates, dead silence. No one knows what to say. Everyone's super uncomfortable now. And I eat, you know, a burger, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know, like, fuck, like, I'm at the point now where maybe I should just get up and fucking like, good day, peace out. And I'm just like, I'm trying to be nice. I'm using like every social bone in my body to like turn this into a conversation and like to have it be like we're just people out at dinner, you know, like that kind of thing. So I start talking to the husband, and he's cool, and he bullshits with me like a normal human being for like 5 minutes. And we come back to her, and she says, I'm not fucking making this up. She starts going through the entire speech again. I don't want to fuck you, and I want to fuck my husband, and proceeds to re-explain the entire conversation that we already had that made all this awkward start, and tell me about, I didn't mean to put you on a date. I was like, yeah, we covered all this. Like, we just had this conversation 10 minutes ago. And she goes through it like literally word for word, literally piece by piece again, telling me how she does not want to fuck me, and that it's not a date, and so on. And everyone gets really awkward again, and I look at my phone, and my phone is just ominously silent. No one is texting me, no one is messaging me. There's no way to get it to just vibrate and sound like someone is calling. So finally I just go, oh, my roommate just texted me. She needs a ride. And they're like, oh, you have to go? Yes, I have to go. I will have to get a separate check. Thank you. Okay, goodbye. Take my card. Here's a $30 tip. I don't care. And I'm going to fucking walk out of here. And I said, it was lovely to meet you all. Have a good day. And before I can get up, she goes, oh, well, Angela's going through a divorce. And I said, okay. Like, and she's like, I didn't want to say that because, you know, and I was like, because, you know, it's a shitty thing to bring up at a conversation. What the fuck are you doing? And she's like, well, maybe you guys could hang out. And it turns into this matchmaker bullshit. And I'm just like, are you fucking, I'm trying to leave. And I go, well, Angela, would you like my number? She goes, sure. I said, here's my number. And I give it to her and I go, okay, goodbye. And I fucking walk out. And I walk out of the restaurant, and I walk toward my car, and I am just losing my shit. I am laughing so fucking hard. I can't believe that this is my life, that this is the parallel fucking weird universe that I live in, that this shit happens to me. Like, it's shit you can't write. It's like fucking comedy gold. I think this could be stand-up. I think this could be a sketch. I think this could be a fucking story to write down. But I had it so fresh in my mind that I had to sit down and do a video and explain how the best date ever just went for me. And for the record, Melanie does not want to fuck me. I don't think her husband might want to fuck me. I don't know. At this point, he's probably wondering who the fuck he's fucking. Because he seems like he was embarrassed, too. And I think she said as like a parting shot, like, let's keep in contact and hang out again. And I'm just like, dude, I am burning your phone number. I'm literally going to print it out from my phone onto a PDF, print it at work, bring it home, fold it up into an origami swan, and burn it on a fucking pentagram, hoping that you and your phone number go to hell directly, because holy shit. Anyway, so that's my Friday night so far. And honestly, like, I could not be more overjoyed, because I could have had a boring date where some chick pretended to be into me or not, and, you know, we chat over coffee and have small talk. Or I could have the craziest fucking story you've ever heard in your goddamn life, where she brought her friend and her husband on a date that isn't a date and told everyone in the restaurant she doesn't want to fuck me twice. So, beautiful, beautiful story, beautiful day, beautiful date. I should just put this video on OkCupid and call it a day. So, thank you guys for all the emojis. I'm gonna read this now. It just says I'm not gonna fuck you, and yeah. Let's see. Husband probably is not. Second date. Oh, you're all a piece of shit, awful people, and I love you. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna keep this for posterity, and thank you. If anyone wants to chat with me, I'll be here in a weird fugue state, wondering what my life is.